Yo, welcome again to Next God Creations. Today we are going to look at how to use Cinema 4D and Photoshop to create this type of 3D. So I'll first of all start by selecting my rectangle tool. Then I will draw like this. After that, I'll go to my property window. So if you want to activate the property window, go to Windows, then scroll through, you'll see properties. So make sure this one is ticked like this. So you have to make sure it is ticked. So this is my property window. Then I make sure to drag these ones like this. You see, to get a round edge shape like this. So I'll increase it a bit like this. So now I'll have to decrease the fill to 0%. Then I'll go over to FS. Then I'll select stroke. I'll select the stroke color to be white, black, like this. Then I'll increase the stroke size. I'll make sure the position is inside. So like this, I think it's okay. Then I'll press OK. Now let's type inside new week. So I'll select my text tool like this. Then I'll click here. Then type new. I'll make them separate. So the new will be separate, then the week to be separate. So this is the new. But then it is white, so I have to change the color to black. So I'll just select, go to the property window, then select black. Let me change my font. I'll highlight everything. Then I'll use this as my font. I'll have to reduce the size. Then I'll type the week, so I'll copy this one. Using the Ctrl J, then you type your week like this. So I'll make sure they align to each other, the new and the week. So I'll reduce it to make sure this line draw. Then I'll push this one to like the same way. So when the line draws, that means they are aligning. Then I'll position it in the middle. Now let me reduce the length of the shape like this. So this is the design. So now let's merge the week and the new together. So I'll select both and press Ctrl G to group them, then Ctrl E to merge them. After merging, I'll press on Ctrl. My hand is still on the Control, then I'll bring my cursor here, then I'll click before releasing my hand from the Control. You see there's a selection made around the text. So now you have to select these two magic wand. You will select like this. Then you bring the cursor on top of your text, right click, then select make work path, then press on OK. Now let's save it. So we are going to export it as Illustrator file. So go to File, Export, then select Path to Illustrator. OK. Then give it a location. So I will save it as new week. Press save. Now let's deselect the selection made. You can do that by pressing Ctrl plus Enter, then Ctrl plus D to deselect it. So the same procedure for the shape. So pressing the Ctrl, click on the rectangle. You will see this kind of selection. But then there's something we have to do before converting it. We have to make sure it is not. We have to rasterize this layer, the rectangle. So you can do that by right clicking, then say rasterize layer. But convert it to smart object before you rasterize. So you right click, then select convert to smart object, this one. After that, you right click again, then say rasterize. Before you press Ctrl, then click on inside like this. So you see everything will be selected. Then using the magic wand, right click inside the shape, then select make work path. press OK. Now let's save it using the same procedure. So File, Export, Path to Illustrator. Then I'll say OK. So I'll put it on desktop, then say weak shape. Then I'll press Save. Now I'm done with Photoshop, so I can close my Photoshop. So I'll open my Cinema 4D. So this is the Cinema 4D app. So what I need to do now is I'll drag one of my file. So this is the text, new week. I'll drag it inside, then I'll press OK. Now it's left with the shape. I can't drag that one. I'll have to head over to File, then say Merge. Then it was saved on the desktop, so I'll click on Desktop, then locate where I saved it. So this is it, weak shape. Then I'll make sure to select it, then press Open. OK. So now this is the shape. This is the shape we created in Photoshop. So now let's proceed with the 3D. So before we proceed with the 3D, you see there's a plus behind this new week. Click on it to open. So we have different paths. Let's merge those paths as one file. So I'll select the path 1, then pressing the shift, I'll press the path 7. Then I'll right click on it, then locate Connect Object plus Delete. So let me remove it from the new week something. I can delete it now. So because now I have two paths, I'll have to create two extrude objects for both paths. So let's create the extrude object by heading over here. When you press on it, you see this is the extrude. I'll press over again to another extrude will come. So I'll drag the new week to the extrude 1. Then I'll drag this path 2 to the second extrude. So this is the 3D. Now let's work on it to make it beautiful. So I'll select my extrude 1. Let's double click and name it Shape. Then this one too as Text. So I'll select the shape 1. Then in the object menu, I'll decrease this 20 centimeter. I'll decrease it like this. Then I'll select the text to then decrease the extrude. Now let's make a little adjustment using the fillet cap. So I want to do it together. I don't want to do it separately. So I'll select the first shape, then holding the shift, I'll select the text. Then I'll head over to caps. For the start, I'll select fillet cap. Then I'll reduce the radius to, let's say, 1. Then I'll increase the steps. Let me still reduce it. I want to reduce it to 0.9. Let me see. Let's come to 0.7. Okay, I think 0.7 is better for me. Then for the end to fillet cap, I'll use the same settings. For the steps, 41. And for the radius, 0.7 centimeters. So this is it. We are creating something. So let's select the text. Then pressing the control, we will drag this blue axis now. We will drag it backwards. It will duplicate it. Then let's increase the radius once for the fillet cap, the starting point. Increase it. So this is what will happen. So it's still too big for me. So let me go for 1. I think 1 is okay. Then I'll drag it forward like this. So this is it. So now let's apply some materials. So in order to apply material, you have to come back to the material window. So you can double click here. This material mat will be created. So let's double click on it to make adjustments. I want to make everything black, so I'll head over to the color, then click on this shape, then select black. Okay, now let's give it a reflection. So when you come to the reflectance menu, click on add, then select GGX. Now let's reduce the brightness. So this is the brightness. Let's reduce it. It's okay now. Now let's apply the material to our design. So you click and drag. You drag and drop, like this. You drag and drop. So this is it. Now let's do another thing. Let's create. This time around we are going to use HDR images. So let's create a sky. So when you see this one, the floor, click without releasing your hand, you will see a sky. So it will be created like this. All this reflection will vanish now, like this. So you will apply HDR material to it. So if you want to create a custom reflection. So now let's create another material by double clicking. So it has created a white one. So double click on it. Then disable everything, untick everything, then tick the luminance. So in the luminance, select texture. Then I'll use this HDR material. I'll say open. Yes. Then I'll close it. So I'll have to drag this material created to the sky. Like this. So this is the reflection now. So let's add some light to it. So I'll go to File, Merge. Then I have it somewhere here. So Cinema 4D Studio Light. Close. I'll delete the floor. I don't need it. Then let me off this sky. Then I'll have to make adjustments to the light. So I'll push the headlight backwards a bit. Then let me raise it up a bit. Let me see how it affects my work. So let me adjust the other one to a bit. So for the S hazards, I'll push it like a bit. So it's all about adjustment, the one that works best for you. Okay, so let's see how it will be. So I'll press on this one and say okay. So after rendering, this is how it is going to look like. So let's proceed to render the full work. So we can do that by first doing our render settings. So I'll go to this render settings, Then I'll change the output to print landscape. I'll use A4 this time around. I'll go to save. Because I want it to be PNG, I'll select the format and change it to PNG. Then I'll take the alpha channel. I'll click on this three dots to give it a location. So it should be on desktop, new, wiki, save. Now it's left with two things: global illumination. I'll change the medium to high. Then I'll add the last one, which is ambient occlusion. I'll change everything to 45, leaving only the 10 and the 60%. So I won't touch the 10, I won't touch the 64. I'll increase the last one like this. So now I can continue to render my work. So I'll press the middle logo like this. Okay, so now the work will render. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more 3D and flyer tutorials. See you next time.